Well, here's a game. Let's see, e4. What have I played? Yeah, let's try e5. Freestyle attitude. Okay, gonna get a classical, some kind of classical opening. Well, I don't usually ponder this long on the second move. What is going on here? Bishop c4, third move. Bishop c4, bishop b5 are the top choices. There's also Scotch, playing with d4. Okay, the Italian game. So I always reply with bishop to c5 here. I've never played the black side of the two knights. And he's just shoring up his center. Okay, what does this mean? Yeah, oh, the normal move is c3. I was just trying to remember how this usually goes. And the response is usually knight to f6. So I should play knight f6 anyway, right? Is he really threatening to take this pawn? Not yet. And it's good to get this piece developed. And if he plays knight to g5 to attack my f7 square, I can castle. That's the one thing you have to be cautious of before playing this move, is that you can castle to meet knight to g5, which is usually not a good move. Okay, so he's going for one of these fishing pole attacks, maybe. Well, let's check. I'll go ahead and place the pawn on h6 and see if he decides to tempt fate here. Maybe this works here. If I take and he takes and I have to move my knight away, that means his queen can get access to this square. Yeah, so he's just going to ignore that. So I'm going to ignore it too. I don't have to take the knight. And just continue with my normal plans, which since he's not attacking the e-pawn, I can play d4 here. Pawn takes, knight takes. Should be good. d5. I can play d5 in this case. And when black can get in d5, that's usually good. And we can always check that out in the postmortem to see if I could have safely taken his knight there, but you don't have to take the knight, and if you're not sure, why not just play a normal game of chess instead of getting mated in 3 moves? I think now that I can get my bishop out, I think he's in danger here. Okay, so where do I want my bishop to go? Drop back to b3, he plays a4. I drop back to b6. He plays a4, I play a6. And yeah, I think that's a good diagonal. I don't necessarily want to come back here. I want to keep some pressure against his king side. I have queen to f6 as an idea here too. Just looking at that sensitive f2 square. Although at the moment the queen is defending the knight. I have to be careful I don't lose pieces. But queen f6 comes with a tempo because he has to defend f2. And then I can move the knight. Yeah, so should I throw an a6 first? I think so. It also, if he plays b5, I can take the pawn on b5, and my knight will have a square to go to. Yeah, I could ignore it and just play knight to, okay, but he goes there. So I'm dropping back. That was the plan. And then see how he continues. Okay, so he brings his queen out, aggressively posting it, and he's got another piece on looking at the f7 square. So if I play queen f6 now, let's see, if I take his knight now, he will take my knight. It's not so great. If I play bishop to e6, he'll take my bishop, and that's not so great. So queen f6, if he takes my knight, then queen here is check. King runs to d8. Yeah, it's not an immediate mate. And he's taken my knight, so I don't have my knight hopping in to cause trouble. Okay, let's see. I can defend my knight this way. I guess that's the way to do it. And I can also play c6 to securely defend that diagonal. And now his knight is really hanging. I can just take it because his queen is not over here to contribute to the attack. And I will take it. And then I'm going to play c6 here so that my knight is free to move. And then knight to g6, and queen takes pawn on g5. Oh no, the bishop is guarding that pawn. But knight to g6 anyway looks like a good defensive move. And maybe develop my light squared bishop. Yeah, I was going to play knight g6 anyway, so I don't know what that did. He just opened up a line for his queen. But now it's not so simple, right? I can bring my queen out. Let's see. Can I bring my queen out? I have knight here to control this square. My queen can't go to g4 because his bishop controls that square, g5. I can bring my knight to f4 here, block out his bishop, and also control this square so his queen can't come to the h-file so quickly. And I can keep taking here. Now my queen can come to g4, g5 at this point. Let's see, do I want to do that? I could take this pawn with check first, and then bring my queen out. And then what would that be? That would be 3 pawns against 3. That would just be a pawn up. But yeah, that probably helps him because it puts his bishop on a good square looking at h7 there. Okay, I could play g6, let him take my knight, and then go for the check. Let's see, is there some retreating move with the knight? Let's see, if I just go back with the knight and he plays queen to h5, then I'm getting mated unless I move this pawn. And when I move the pawn, he can take the knight. So it looks like he's getting that knight. Let's develop the queen. Get the queen out. And let's not forget about my bishop that I have on this diagonal. Although, you know what it is? The problem is, one problem is that if I take with this pawn, then he can push his d-pawn forward and shut out my bishop. That would be kind of annoying. Well, let's see what he chooses to do here. Freestyle attitude. So, and if I take with the pawn, that allows him to play d4, shutting out my bishop. If I take with the queen, then he can bring his queen over, but I can bring my queen in with check. And then play f6 here and just walk my king away from the mate, I guess. Yeah, he goes that way. I don't really like that idea of letting his queen out. Can I play bishop here? He takes my queen, I take his queen. It loses another piece. I could sack my bishop, take here with check. And that looks a little bit interesting. Bishop takes, king takes, queen takes, check. And then, well, he could interpose with the queen. I takes, and I don't have any great skewer with the bishop because it's not yet developed. So I will take with the pawn here, I guess. Yep, so he goes to that square. Let's attack his queen. And maybe develop some rooks with check. Start getting my pieces into the attack here. He doesn't have time to castle. That's one important point here. So I wonder what's better, rook e1 check or the other one. Yeah, let's go with this check first. And let's take his queen. And then let's oh, maybe there's a better way to unpin. I could unpin using my bishop as well. I want to unpin this pawn here before he attacks it. I can throw in this check. That's probably worth something, right? Drives his king to the back rank and keeps him from getting his rook in the game. So that's worthwhile, as well as attacking this pawn. And then I'm going to play king to f1 with the idea that if he plays rook to f5 here, I'm going to play king f8. Yeah, he can play rook f5, forking these two pawns. Then I will play pawn to f6. And he can take this pawn. And let's see, I can bring my bishop back here and get my other rook into the game. So yeah, let's get the rook in first and then I'll bring the bishop around. Okay, so the bishop comes here hitting his rook. And he's getting tricky again. Let's defend the bishop there then. If I move the bishop, he has this check. Oh, he can take stuff. And so he won the exchange there. Let's see, I get another pawn here. And I can also pin that knight, I guess. His rook is still not playing, so it's a rook and two bishops against two rooks and a knight. And I have one extra pawn. So probably still a game. But yeah, I blew it. I blew it. I let him back into the game when I should have been winning there. Okay, let's attack the pinned knight, or pin the knight and then attack it. Okay, so he gives the exchange back. And so now it's just rook and knight versus rook and bishop. And I have the extra pawn. I have the passed pawn here. So this should be a winning endgame. However, I have blown it before. Let's see. Maybe I should just start pushing those pawns. Why not? Yep, he gets a check. He can come over and attack these pawns, which are a little bit hard to defend. Oh, my bishop is on the right color to defend those pawns. That's nice. An unexpected benefit. Yeah, so let's attack his knight. Or let's take the pawn. It's probably better. And let's see, he's going to get... Do I want the rook in front of the pawn or behind it? Let's say in front. And then I'll start pushing this pawn forward.